1970s, R&B wasn't just about smooth grooves and velvet voices, it was rebellion, wrapped in rhythm. Behind the lush harmonies and bass lines that moved entire dance floors, some artists crossed lines that radio couldn't handle. From moans that scandalized church groups to protest lyrics, governments tried to silence. These are the most controversial, banned, and backlash-heavy R&B songs of the 1970s. Donna Summer, Love to Love You Baby. In 1975, Donna Summer, then a relatively unknown American singer living in Germany, recorded a song that changed disco forever and shocked radio censors worldwide. Love to Love You Baby, co-written with Giorgio Moroder and Pete Bellotte, pushed sensuality to new limits. Over lush strings and a slow pulsing beat, Summer's breathy moans mimicked ecstasy so vividly that the BBC banned it outright. The 16-minute version filled one entire side of her album, forcing American radio to create shorter edits. Even then, many stations kept it off air, calling it too graphic. Time magazine famously counted 22 moans, while BBC staff claimed 23. Civil rights leader Jesse Jackson criticized it as morally corrupting, and several churches echoed his disapproval. Despite bans and backlash, the song soared to number 2 on Billboard's Hot 100 and sold over 1 million copies, proof that scandal only amplified its fame. Love to Love You Baby became the ultimate anthem of the 1970s sexual revolution. Billy Paul, Let's Make a Baby. By the mid-1970s, Philadelphia soul had a reputation for elegance, strings, horns, and romance wrapped in silk. Then Billy Paul dropped Let's Make a Baby in 1976. What should have been another smooth love ballad instead sparked one of R&B's fiercest moral debates. The trouble started in Chicago. Reverend Jesse Jackson branded the song obscene, launching a campaign to have it pulled from radio rotation. Stations responded in wildly different ways. Some radios cut new versions with edited lyrics, while some others continued spinning the track but refused to say its title aloud. The dispute quickly made national headlines, turning an otherwise modest single into a flashpoint for artistic freedom. Despite boycotts, Let's Make a Baby reached number 18 on the R&B chart and even cracked the Pop Top 100. The Chakachas, Jungle Fever. When Jungle Fever hit the airwaves in 1971, listeners didn't know what to think. An instrumental Latin soul groove by a Belgian studio group, it sounded harmless until the moaning began, a playful rhythmic panting that turned radio heads red. No. The BBC quickly banned it for being too suggestive, but by then it had already climbed into the top 10 on Billboard's Hot 100 and sold over 1 million copies. Some critics called it audio indecency, while others praised its daring fusion of funk and sensuality. Ironically, the ban only made it hotter. DJs played bootleg copies, and US audiences couldn't get enough of its sweaty energy. The Chakachas, a collective of Latin and jazz musicians from Belgium, never scored another hit. But Jungle Fever became a cult classic, later resurfacing in the 1997 film Boogie Nights and the popular video game Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. What was once banned for breathing too loud ended up defining a decade that finally stopped pretending music was innocent. Johnnie Taylor, Disco Lady. In early 1976, Johnnie Taylor bridged soul and disco with Disco Lady, a funky celebration of nightlife that became a lightning rod for moral outrage. Civil rights leader Jesse Jackson condemned it as sex rock, claiming its lyrics encouraged promiscuity and moral decline. Some community radio stations pulled it, while others played it with edited intros to dodge complaints. The backlash didn't slow it down. Disco Lady spent 4 weeks at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, 6 weeks atop the R&B chart, and sold over 2 million copies, making it the first ever platinum certified single by the RIAA. Backed by members of Parliament Funkadelic, the song's groove was irresistible even to its critics. Taylor, who had just left Stax Records after its collapse, found career revival in controversy. Disco Lady was a proof that no moral campaign could stop the sound of the dance floor. KC and the Sunshine Band, Shake, Shake, Shake. Thanks to Johnnie Taylor, by 1976, disco was everywhere, but few songs captured its spirit like KC and the Sunshine Band's Shake, 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 Shake Your Booty. The track's bouncy rhythm and endlessly repeating hook made it irresistible and slightly scandalous. Some American radio stations refused to play it, claiming the word booty was too explicit for air. Others edited or faded the song early to avoid public complaints about its supposed sexual undertone. Despite the pushback, Shake Your Booty exploded, topping both the Billboard Hot 100 and R&B charts, becoming the group's third #1 single. It sold over 2 million copies and cemented KC and the Sunshine Band as disco icons. Ironically, what some heard as risque was really meant as a simple message about confidence and fun on the dance floor. Decades later, its joyful groove still defines the era when even the word booty could cause a national stir. But as dance floors pulsed with glitter and light, another voice rose from the streets, raw, poetic, and unfiltered. Scott-Heron, The Revolution Will Not Be Televised. In 1970, Scott-Heron stood on a Harlem stage and delivered what many consider the first spark of hip-hop. The Revolution Will Not Be Televised. Set to conga drums and later re-recorded with a jazz-funk groove, it was a direct challenge to television culture and political apathy.
The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by Xerox and 4.
The song's rapid-fire references to brands, media, and politicians mocked how real social change could never be packaged for prime time. Though never officially banned, its Black Power message led to quiet censorship. Most U.S. stations avoided it for fear of political backlash. Still, it spread through word of mouth, poetry circuits, and college airwaves, becoming an underground anthem of the civil rights era. Decades later, the Library of Congress honored the recording in the National Recording Registry, calling it culturally significant. Scott-Heron's words outlived every network broadcast, proving the revolution wasn't on TV, but in the rhythm of resistance. Curtis Mayfield, Don't Worry. If there's a hell below, we're all going to go. Released in 1970 as the opening track of Curtis Mayfield's solo debut, this song was a wake-up call disguised as funk, driven by thunderous bass, congas, and psychedelic distortion.
And if there's hell below,
it painted a chaotic vision of America, racism, war, and social collapse all clashing in one apocalyptic sermon. Its raw language and references to racial tension led many U.S. radio stations to quietly shelve it, considering the lyrics too controversial for airplay. Despite limited exposure, the track reached #3 on the R&B chart and #29 on the Hot 100. The song opened a new chapter in soul music, political, prophetic, and uncompromising. Its influence later rippled through funk and hip-hop, inspiring artists from Marvin Gaye to Kanye West. Mayfield didn't just write about the times, he broadcasted Judgment Day in stereo. Then came a song with only a single word as its title. War. Edwin Starr, War. In 1970, Motown took a bold step when it gave War, originally a Temptations album track, to Edwin Starr, whose fiery voice turned it into one of the most powerful protest songs ever recorded.
War! Good God, y'all! What is it good?
Backed by pounding drums and a militant horn section, Starr's shout of "War, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing," resonated across an America weary of Vietnam. The song hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 for 3 weeks and sold over 3 million copies, earning Starr a gold record. Yet, its impact came with resistance. U.S. Armed Forces Radio banned it, fearing it would hurt troop morale, and decades later, the BBC banned it during the Gulf War for being too politically charged. Despite the censorship, War became a timeless anthem of dissent, re-emerging in films, rallies, and hip-hop samples, proof that protest can still sound like a hit record. Fela Kuti, Zombie. Another song with one-word title, Fela Kuti's Zombie, released in 1976, was a literal act of rebellion.
Zombie, oh zombie, zombie, oh zombie.
Through a hypnotic Afrobeat rhythm and biting satire, Kuti compared Nigerian soldiers to mindless zombies who followed orders without thought. The track's popularity turned dangerous when the government took it as a personal insult. In 1977, roughly 1,000 Nigerian soldiers raided Fela's Lagos compound, the Kalakuta Republic, burning his home and studio, beating his followers, and throwing his mother from a window, injuries that later proved fatal. The album was banned in Nigeria, and Fela was briefly exiled after similar unrest in Ghana, where the song had sparked riots. Musically, Zombie epitomized Afrobeat's mix of funk, jazz, and political fire, but its message went beyond music. It became a global symbol of artistic defiance, proof that one groove could shake an entire military regime. The Temptations, Ball of Confusion. When Ball of Confusion hit airwaves in 1970, it pushed Motown into risky territory. The Temptations' rapid-fire lyrics listed everything tearing America apart: Vietnam, segregation, inflation, pollution, and political hypocrisy. It was a sharp departure from the label's usual polished love songs. The record became a hit, but its content made radio programmers uneasy. Several U.S. stations restricted its playtime, worried that its barrage of social issues sounded too radical amid ongoing protests and racial unrest. 2 decades later, history repeated itself. During the 1991 Gulf War, the BBC temporarily banned the song from broadcast, grouping it with other tracks referencing war or global chaos. The concern wasn't profanity, it was tone. Its refrain, "That's what the world is today," hit too close to home during wartime broadcasts. The irony, a song censored for being too real, only proved how timeless its message still was. Which band R&B track still hits you the hardest? Drop your favorite in the comments, hit like, subscribe, and keep the rhythm alive by watching the next video right here on your screen.